Sussex weeps as Charles silently imparts to Will and Kate the secret to dealing with the enemy to protect their dynasty. Hello friends, welcome to the breaking royal news about the notorious hypocritical couple Harry and Meghan Markle on our Kate Middleton and the Queen News version 2 channel. Reportedly, King Charles has secretly passed along a few helpful tips on dealing with the royal troublemakers to William and Catherine, so they can apply these tips after they become the king and queen. And this caused Meghan and Harry to weep bitterly in Montecito, California. It's worth noting that Charles has simulated the enemy of the royal family as Harry and his wicked daughter-in-law Meghan living in America. Instead of arguing with the slanderer, Charles has advised the royal family just to remain quiet and allow the fire to burn out all by itself. Retaliating to enemy attacks is only going to give them a right to reply and slow down their self-destruction. In the only place that really matters, the UK, the royal family's popularity and the monarchy have not been put under any real threat. Now, if you've got a Twitter account and you take a look at the overall opinion of the public, it may appear that there is more support for Meghan and Harry there than on other platforms, but you've got to be sure to take a look at the profiles of the supporters. If you take a look at most of their profiles, you can see most people are not from the UK and most people are not connected to the UK in any way, shape, or form. Now, they're entitled to their own opinions, of course, but they're not really relevant when it comes to the staying power of the British royal family. The royal family, as can clearly be shown, has been thriving without Harry and Meghan in their midst. In spite of many commentators talking about the damage that Harry and Meghan are doing to the institution, I think they're actually doing a lot more damage to themselves. Every part of Harry's book has been torn apart and tested for veracity, and it doesn't take very long to figure out that Harry's recollections are not very trustworthy. The royal family are playing this correctly. They don't need to say a thing. They don't need to lift a finger. They know Harry better than any of us do, and what they are doing is just letting this fool destroy himself. Now, they may not appreciate that they're being used for him to make money, but still, they're probably just cheering on as he's digging his own grave. It looks like Harry has passed his expiration date at this point, too. His fatigue is becoming a real thing. Meanwhile, a cherished institution beloved by most people in Britain is in no danger from this pair of lying, manipulative hypocrites. They don't have a bit of credibility between them. The royal family's future also does not depend upon American public opinion at all. Now, Meghan and Harry may be loved by some people in the US, but most people in the UK absolutely despise them. Britons can appreciate the wisdom of not engaging with these liars and these emotional hostage-takers. Since the Montecito Moners are destructive, chronic liars, they're going to twist and spin the words of any royal who is dumb enough to talk to them. But having said that, it would be lovely just to not invite the two of them to the coronation. I don't even think they need to give an explanation, just no invitation. And if they dare complain to the media about the lack of invitation, well, the royal silence should give them their answer. One expert weighed in, asserting they don't have to do a point-to-point argument about the statements. If you read them, it seems so improbable. The Oprah interview showed so many inconsistencies in the early wedding that we didn't know about each other. Harry's revelation that he did drugs is hardly news. Now, his protection detail at the time said that they were there to protect him. They were not there to babysit him. All the aids and all the drug work his mother did, and now he is shoving toxic substances into his body. It's horrible. I will say, though, I've been loving the memes that have come out about all of this, like the inter-service rivalry ones about the RAF beating up a squatty or about the dog bowl. And I thought Meghan was this strong, independent woman, so I'm trying to figure out why exactly she needs to ask for help from the grave of somebody she never even met before. And what was she doing there all alone anyway? Harry says that he walked in. It's interesting that Harry seems to walk in after so many events and he can't stay awake for 2 whole minutes while Meghan has a pregnancy test. My goodness. I remember every single time I took a pregnancy test, my husband would be wide awake, all riled up for hours afterwards, whether it was positive or negative. Let's think back to the Queen's statement, recollections may vary. Well, people are slowly coming out of the woodwork with different versions of the exact same events. Photos have been released showing other versions of Harry and his father out riding bicycles. Also, apparently the dog bowls are metal. I imagine the Montecito Moners are wide awake with their team right now, going, "Why don't they believe us? Why don't they love us?" I'm guessing we'll also see a mass exodus of members of their media team. So there is absolutely no need for the palace to issue some kind of word-for-word rebuttal. There's more than enough info out there for your average Joe to come to their own conclusions. And I'm guessing that sooner or later, Meghan is going to say something or other which is going to put her right back in front of a judge regarding the privacy lawsuit that she won a judgment on. I think the phrase "don't feed the troll" really applies to this situation. It's important that the royal family not give them anything to push back with. If they just ignore them, eventually they're going to run out of steam and they're going to shut up. Most people are not stupid enough to believe everything they say or to be taken in by a lot of vagaries. There are lots of online pundits out there who have taken their love story apart piece by piece. So if we just continue ignoring them, if we give them nothing, then eventually they're going to fade into the non-entities that they really are. They are such losers. I mean, they aspire to being like these reality TV stars who are just famous for being famous. Now, to play them at their own game is really giving in to them. It's giving them what they want. If you feed a stray cat, for example, they're going to keep coming back asking for more. So the best thing to do is just cut them off so they'll figure out somewhere else to go. Silence is by far the best response in this situation. The press, the public, Meghan and Harry's friends, everybody has been more than willing to expose their truths as anything but. Now, they can stay quiet and they can remain dignified while the rest of us speak out. Another thing about Meghan and Harry is they make these outrageous statements without a bit of evidence, but the evidence of their lies is basically instant. One of the latest and greatest is that they were not protected. They had negative stories fed to the media by the palace. In his interview with Anderson Cooper, not yet broadcast. So what happens? We are fed all the time. Newspapers were asked to leave them alone. Not one or two, but dozens of newspapers were asked to leave them alone. And the papers printed this. Another of Harry's complaints just bites the dust. One viewer commented, "I used to wonder the same thing, but after hearing over and over all the crap they spew every day, I can totally understand why they don't. First, it would take a full-time press secretary to dispute everything that comes from their mouths. Second, I think they know Harry is troubled, delusional, and clinically depressed. They don't want to publicly acknowledge it, even though he would have no trouble exposing it if someone else in the royal family was. He has no clue about real life and thinks we should feel sorry for a prince who has had everything handed to him on a silver platter. Supposedly, he and his brother got into a sibling fight, shoving, yelling match that broke his necklace. Harry had to call his therapist right away. Is this the therapist he said he didn't have or Meghan didn't have access to? Please stop. They have made things so much worse by doing interviews after interviews. Harry, no one cares. No one feels sorry for you. You wanted to leave the royal family and be just Harry." And another viewer commented, "Not everyone in this world wants a quiet life. Narcs, sociopaths, and psychopaths swim in chaos, create chaos and conflict, and enjoy drama. In other words, they get off on it. Throw drugs into the mix, and it's even worse." That's what we have here because we can chart all this dysfunction to Harry and then the start of his union with his disreputable marriage partner who has a previous history of destructive relationships. In other words, you can trace the trouble back to the source. Harry and his wife want their own way and to be financially supported by his father and brother. When people create drama and chaos, it's time to refuse to participate. And you, what do you think of Charles's strategy of keeping quiet to make Harry and Meghan self-destruct? Let us know your thoughts below in the comments section. We hope you have found this video helpful. And don't forget to leave us a like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy it. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll be back to see you in the next videos.